listening to MuniCast, the podcast that discusses municipal leadership. MuniCast is brought to you by SaskTel's Innovation and Collaboration team. SaskTel can help you sort through the noise to create solutions that add value quickly. Whether it's reducing your environmental footprint, driving investment, community development, or just saving money, contact your SaskTel account manager to find out more. MuniCast is hosted by SUMA, the voice of Saskatchewan's hometowns. I'm Stephanie, SUMA's Education and Events Advisor, and on this bonus episode of MuniCast, I'm speaking with Cody Demerais, who is an award-winning Métis author, speaker, life coach, and entrepreneur. Cody is a successful leader who was born and raised in Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, and now delivers inspirational and motivational talks on his past so that others don't have to learn the hard way that he did. During Cody's keynote presentation in 2003 at the SUMA Convention and Tradeshow, he shared his impactful story of struggle and resilience through intense substance abuse, as well as issues with anger and depression that led to a life-altering car crash. An entrepreneur, changemaker, and community advocate, Cody aims to make a difference in this world, and SUMA looks forward to inviting him to Convention 2024 as our Master of Ceremonies. Welcome, Cody. Thank you very much for joining me today for this conversation.
Thank you very much for having me, Miss Stephanie. It's an honor and a privilege to be back working with the organization of SUMA.
Yeah, well, we're very much looking forward to working with you again. As you know, the SUMA Convention and Tradeshow draws elected officials and administration from urban municipalities throughout Saskatchewan, and we had the pleasure of having you as our keynote speaker for convention last year in 2023. And we're really looking forward to having you join us as our MC in Regina for the 2024 SUMA Convention and Tradeshow. What inspired you to say yes when you were invited to be the MC for this upcoming SUMA convention?
Well, full transparency, I had a blast last year, but saying yes to, of course, being asked to be the Master of Ceremonies for this year's convention, I had to second guess a little bit about it because, of course, it is me coming out of my comfort zone, doing something that's not necessarily a role that I do day to day with what I chose to do as a profession. But at the same time, the motivational speaker, Les Brown, has an amazing analogy that he used to say, is that imagine that you're on your deathbed and all the ghosts of your potential, the skills that you never used come to you while you're on your deathbed. And they're angry and they're upset with you because they say to you that you could have brought them to life. And now we have to go to the grave together. That analogy, that story, that, little blip from Les Brown has stuck with me in a lot of the aspects that I have chosen to say yes to when it comes to my life as an entrepreneur. Somebody who wants to just keep growing and never stop pushing my own envelope, because I know what on the other side of the comfort level is going back to the things that I never really want to stay a part of anymore. And, stepping into the shoes of an entrepreneur, a speaker, I knew that the comfortability level that I used to kind of maybe have on a day-to-day basis was going to have to go away for the long run for me to be who I know I want to be for the future.
That's something you hear so often from people as well, that stepping out of your comfort zone is part of what drives you to grow as a person and to really hone in on some of those skills that you maybe didn't know that you had or didn't know that they could be as good as they are. Last year at Convention 23, you provided a very personal and inspiring keynote where you shared some of the lessons that you've learned in life. How will you be using that experience as the 2023 convention keynote as a life lesson for stepping into your role as the MC for 2024?
Yeah, so very proudly and very thankfully, SUMA last year was my biggest audience, I do believe, by, more than triple that I've ever spoken in front of. So, and it's not every day that you can speak in front of an audience like that and also leave as a keynote speaker and get a standing ovation from your audience. And I took that as one of the most incredible honors and gifts, because what I was trying my best to do is just make sure I got my story out, and I, didn't try my best to leave any parts out that really help fill in the gaps of where I come from in life and some of the lessons that I've learned. And to be welcomed after my presentation was done by so many individuals with open arms and, personal stories of themselves. I knew being a part of 2024 convention was going to be a lot more approachable for me compared to me saying yes in the first place when I was asked to be your guys' keynote last year. To think where I came from, more or less, as a person that got held back in elementary school for having a speech impediment and having a stutter, to being asked to be the master of ceremonies for SUMA's 2024 convention is an incredible road, incredible journey. And I can't express how grateful I am to just be on this side of life and be working with SUMA again.
It's a really inspiring story that you shared too, because it's a good example of how we never really know where we're going to end up in life and what roads are going to lead us in what directions. And I will say definitely after the last convention, particularly when you had your table set up and you were greeting people afterwards, one of the comments that we heard was Cody stuck around. He listened to everybody's story and he really took the time to listen to everybody. He didn't leave people standing there waiting. He was very patient and very kind, and that was something that was really appreciated. And I know we've seen you working with some of our other partners throughout this year as well. So it's been very exciting to see that we've had the opportunity to work together and introduce some of our colleagues to the work that you're doing as well.
I do recall being almost one of the very last people at the convention before everyone broke off. And saying that, when I first started speaking, I'd say a presentation like that, I would pretty much have to be out of the eyes of the public for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, because it was just, of course, physically, mentally, emotionally draining. But to be able to share a lot of those stories and connections with everyone, that was a big highlight for myself personally. So it's nice to know that that was a highlight for some of the folks as well, too.
How has the last year been for you? We'd love to know more about what's been keeping you busy.
And what has kept me busy this year for sure is we have a brand new baby girl to add to our tribe, basically. And so I know one of the first little jokes that I made as a keynote last year for the convention was that I was very thankful that SUMA just invited me to stay in a hotel the night before the convention, because I actually caught up on some sleep. And having a baby girl, brand new girl, her name's Hope Demerais. We had her last Saturday. So you might be able to see some bags through the screen right now, but it's funny because I'm kind of in a similar boat as of last year. And you know what the funny thing is? I already thought of a hilarious joke for this year. If you guys have me back next year for a third year in a row for whatever role, whatever purpose, who knows? We might even have a third one by then too. But my missus and I are still in negotiations for that part. So we'll have to see where our tribe lands for how many we bring into this world. But in saying that, that has kept me fairly busy. And as well, I have closed my retail brick and mortar location down shortly. I do believe it was right after SUMA last year. In fact, because I really wanted to chase the career as a motivational speaker, a workshop facilitator, a life coach, those things just kept on pulling at my heartstrings. And I just knew each and every single day that I wasn't pursuing those things to the full extent that I wanted to. That once again, it goes back to that Les Brown analogy that yes, I built up a store. I built up, amazing loyalty of customers coming to my store quite frequently to visit me and, support my business. But at the same time, I knew that I wanted to do more for individuals, and I wanted to work with groups and companies and organizations and communities, because the truth be told, there is a lot of people in despair when it comes to mental health and addictions. And, I like to believe that I survived my past experiences in order to try my best to actually take a lot of those people's pains away as best as possible. That is what I wanted to pursue. And thankfully, I've been quite busy with that kind of line of work because it's something that fills my heart up. And saying that too, along with that, I got married to my beautiful fiance. We had our other second kid. I'm writing a manuscript that hopefully will be out within the next few months. I'm not necessarily a guy that likes to sit still, so I keep myself pretty busy, whatever I kind of take on, more or less.
Across the province, SaskTel is engaged with many different municipal organizations who seek to innovate. Contact your SaskTel account manager to learn more about some of these initiatives and how they can help your municipality today. I am getting that 2 under 2 plus all the other things that you have going on. That has got to be just very busy. So we appreciate you taking time out of your already very busy schedule to work with us. You are a motivational speaker, workshop facilitator, entrepreneur, life coach, and you have experience leading people. How do you think those experiences are going to help you in your role as the MC?
There's one thing that I learned as a speaker early on in my life is that quite often I was always trying to fill voids of, pauses and silences as a speaker. Maybe just somebody that has a regular conversation back and forth with somebody, you kind of find yourself trying to fill voids often. What I've came to find is when you hold for a pause, it means that you're being very intentional with the words you want to use next. And I believe that comes from just trying to be authentic to who you are. In saying that, speaking in front of 1,000 people as a master of ceremonies, it'll be quite different for me. But I know, like I said, being welcomed in with a lot of welcome arms, with big, wide open hugs last year after the keynote, I'm sure we'll blend all together right in where we need to be, and we'll do what we have to do. And I do believe it'll be a successful SUMA convention for sure.
Wonderful. I would have to agree with you on that. I'm really looking forward to it. My last question here for you is one of the messages that you like to convey is once you believe you have the ability and capacity to do great things, that's when life becomes limitless. In what ways do you plan to bring this outlook to elected officials and administration from urban municipalities?
Yeah, so I came up with that quote, that saying a couple of years ago when I just really want to embrace and embody every single thing that I stand for. And I wanted to leave it out for a quote for people to read for years on. I stand everything behind that quote, more or less. And I want to show people and other people that might be, going through some dark times, whether it's addictions, mental health issues themselves. And I want them to show where a person like myself can come from, places where I used to be in, of course, what I think as one of my most professional honored gifts is to be 2024 SUMA's Convention's Master of Ceremonies. I think that's one of my highest professional, honors. I truly do believe. But to leave that kind of quote with others that might think they're going through some tough times and they may never think of, they can see the possible other side of things. I think those two lines drawn together leads for a very powerful message of hope for those who want to overcome, some of the obstacles that they are involved in. In saying that, I really wanted to express how much I enjoyed working with you and Katie last year. I don't think I got a chance to share that information as much as you guys did a fantastic job and helped me really walk me through the lines of last year's convention. And, everyone from head to toe, basically, you guys had fantastic people working the videos, the audio, everything. From my participation in the convention, it went smoothly, and I do believe you and Katie were a big part of that. So I'm looking forward to working with you, ladies, and of course the organization of SUMA once again.
Well, thank you for that, Cody. We really enjoyed working with you as well. And as you know, convention gets quite busy, so we probably didn't have enough time to sit and chat with you as we would have liked to. But I'm looking forward to having a little bit more time with you as the MC. We've got a few days, and it'll be good to have some more time. We're really looking forward to having you. And when the opportunity came up to invite you to come back, you were one of the first thoughts in our mind, and we're very excited that you accepted the offer.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you very much for having me again. It's like I said, it's one of my highest professional honors that I do believe thus far.
Well, thank you. And thank you for taking the time to speak with me today and join in our podcast this year and last year as well. It's been an engaging conversation. As I said, we're really looking forward to having you at the upcoming SUMA convention and to guide us through that 2024 convention and trade show here in Regina. Do you have any final comments that you'd like to leave our listeners with before we end off?
Sure. Anybody that's listening that will be at this year's convention, don't be too shy on introducing yourself and getting to know me, because I promise you, as long as I have the time in between, of course, being the MC, I will give you my time and my energy. I promise you that. So I look forward to meeting a lot more people this year, with spending a few more days with you guys for sure.
This brings us to the end of another episode of MuniCast. Have you been interested in learning more about what SUMA does and the resources that we have available to Saskatchewan's urban municipalities? Then make sure you tune in to Season 6, where we will be answering the question, who is SUMA?